EVIT, call this meeting to order. I love the hammer. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Public notice. Oh, no, let's get rid of that piece of paper. Okay. We need a motion for the minutes from last.
Mr. President, I believe we have a,
Oh, we have to say the pledge, excuse me. Okay, Kevin, you're on. Thank you. Get going. Okay. 3A, regular meeting of January 22nd.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve the minutes at item 3A.
Okay, got a motion?
Mine doesn't work, so.
I'll second.
It's on right there.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay,
I got a different mic this time.
here, you want to share mine?
Usually have Goose.
This thing's on the whole time. Okay. Call to the public. Any public?
Oh, we need to
We've got to vote.
Oh, we got a vote, excuse me. I'm just trying to get this meeting over.
I'm with you. I'm with
doing
you.
it the wrong way. Thank you. I appreciate all the help I get up here, because it is a team, it's not me. Okay. We'll take a, you want a roll call or?
Yes, sir.
Roll call? Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Okay. Item 4, call the public. Now is there public here?
no, Mr. President, there's not.
Thank you. Dr. Superintendent. No. Okay, consent agenda. We have consent, yes, sir.
Mr. President, I move that we approve items A through J, 5A through 5J.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, a call for the vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Let me turn 14 pages here. Okay, JK. We're on item 6.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I move that we approve items 6A and 6B.
I'll
There's
second
one.
that.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, ask for the vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Supposed to be, I did that wrong. Okay, we're on item 7. Dr. Wilson, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the governing board. One of the things I'm really proud about here at EVIT is that we're constantly looking for ways to solve problems that other places maybe wouldn't be willing to lean into. And in that space, oftentimes we run up a bit of a conundrum in the industrial trades. We've talked before about the opportunity that we have with the associates, and we will build the associates in the industrial trades as well. But there's opportunities that currently exist that we believe if we can figure out a way to leverage those opportunities for our students, it'll be value added to them on a number of different levels. I'm going to ask Dr. Doolin to come up, if she would please, and speak to you about the idea of apprenticeships and maybe some aspects of apprenticeships we haven't considered as an organization before. Dr. Doolin? On apprenticeships?
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm jumping.
Too much, got a little nachos going there.
Hey, I'm just glad to see I'm the only one off.
finish your knot.
Yeah, she's like, hey, yeah, no, I got nachos now.
Not ready yet.
Okay.
I'm making sure this is working, you guys, right?
No,
I don't think so.
push the button.
Now am I working?
There you, oh, yes.
Excellent. Okay. Mr. President, members of the board, it is always a pleasure to be here with you. As Dr. Wilson alluded to, we're looking at some different opportunities for our industrial trades. The 4 areas that we're focusing on and looking at our options are construction, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. All 4 of those programs, minus electrical right now, have adult students also enrolled in them, so we want to make sure that what we're doing is in the best interest of all students, our high school students and our adult students. So we've been looking at some of our options under the apprenticeship program through the Department of Labor. One of the things that we looked at is youth apprenticeship. Youth apprenticeship is an opportunity that would allow our high school students to benefit in a youth apprenticeship program. However, it does not help our adult students necessarily, as they would not be eligible for the youth apprenticeship piece. So we dug in a little bit deeper, and what we're exploring is the becoming our own Department of Labor apprenticeship program. And that would allow both high school and adult to participate. There are some caveats to that we're working through with the Department of Labor, such as age. They have to be 18 years of age before they can go out and actually be in the workforce and do those hours. So those are some of the things we're looking at through the application program. I will keep you posted as we move forward, but did want to give you an update of information that we received and why we're changing a little bit on what we're looking to offer for those areas. I know we talked in the past that we were looking at a possible associate degree. That's not out either. One of the schools we've been talking to also has an associate combined with the apprenticeship program. So we're looking at all those options, and we're going to build that out. And as we build it out, we'll keep you apprised of how it's going. Any questions?
So, Mr. President, here's what I'm really appreciative of, and I thank Dr. Doolin for kind of taking the lead on this. What I'm really appreciative of is that we talk oftentimes about value added for coming back second year. Value added was sticking with us potentially post that second year. And in some cases, I'm not so sure that we've done our due diligence in making sure that there's value added for students in a meaningful way. And I think what the apprenticeship does is it gives us the opportunity to begin building out those multiple different pathways. We may have students in electrical that want to come and earn the industry certifications and not do the apprenticeship. That option's going to be there for them. We have some students that may want to come earn the industry certification, lean into an apprenticeship, and take kind of quicker steps towards that kind of career pathway. We may have some that when we build out some of the associates want to do the option A with the apprenticeship, cobbled together with the associates. I think the more we can build in different pathways and different opportunities for students, the better off we're going to be serving them. So this is an exciting opportunity that I don't think we would have thought of several years ago, but I'm grateful for it. So we'll make sure that we come back multiple times and tell you where we're at as we build it out, because it's an exciting opportunity for us. Thank you.
I would remind, Mr. Covington and I did the trip to Denver last year. One of the places we went to one of the places we went to in Denver last year was their central focused place in Denver.
Yeah.
But a big part of it was focused on apprenticeship training programs, and I was really impressed. And of course, we were there for just one day, but that may be a resource, by the way, you might want to touch.
Well, absolutely. And I think in addition to it being a pathway for our students, I think it's a much more real-time way to support our business and industry. That's kind of our foundation, right? Workforce development. And for us to be able to lean in earlier on and develop a pipeline of individuals to be working directly with business and industry and growing with business and industry just seems to make sense. So
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
7B.
Okay, any more information needed on apprenticeship? If not, we'll go to item 7B, Dr. Wilson, curriculum and work update.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, one of the things I'm proud of as the superintendent is the work that Dr. Fremmer and Dr. Doolin have done and their team has done in the area of curriculum. I've asked Dr. Fremmer to come up here and speak a little bit on the work that they're doing and talk about why it adds value in ways I don't think we realized several years ago. So, Dr. Fremmer.
All right. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. Actually, if I'm going to start talking about curriculum, I first have to give a shout out to both the teachers and the instructional specialists. The amount of work that has been accomplished in the last 2 years since I've been here is amazing and truly more than we had planned when I started. So I'm going to give you the highlights, and then I'm happy to answer questions as well, because I could talk about this for hours, and I know nobody wants to stay here that long. But when we started last year, we started looking at all the curriculum we had, and we had, like typical in districts, it was kind of a spattering over years, had changed. And so we decided we were going to set up new curriculum maps for all programs. We had put a timeline of 2 years. We did it within a year. And so as of last year, all of our programs have new EVIT standard curriculum maps and related documentation. Along with that, at the same time as we were doing that, all of our teachers started using Canvas, the online system, for instructional delivery, as well as tracking of students. So that kind of took us through last year. We had a series of meetings as well as a lot of one-on-ones with teachers to get to that. As we got into this year, first semesters, teachers were implementing that curriculum and also expanding their use of Canvas. Right now, they are updating those curriculum maps. We've actually come up with a simplified format based on their feedback that combines all the documents into one. And by March 1st, we will have updates for the 24-25 year. And actually, we expect those to be long-term because now they've actually been tested. And so we expect that they will review them once a year, but they won't have to redo them. That's kind of where they're at. We've also started with Canvas. Now that all the teachers are familiar with Canvas, they're making what we're calling master courses. They're actually filling all of the content into the courses, working with the instructional specialists side by side, so that those can be reused each year. So every teacher will have a starting point each year. Not that every teacher has to cover everything lockstep, but they'll have a starting point. Right now, we have 5 programs that are piloting that. We have 6 more coming in spring break, and then 10 more in May. So we'll have about half the programs working on that by the spring. We've also started that with the associates being new. We have all the gen eds for the associates under that process as well. We'll have them all by June. And then we have the associate program starting to actually do that. We just had a meeting today. So we will have all of the courses in this similar format where there's master courses made up and a starting point for teachers as well. So through all of this work, what we found out is that we really needed to assess some of our programs, and some of the apprenticeship conversation relates to that. We found that some programs really make more sense as a one-year program with a pathway to another program. For example, fashion and interior were reduced to 1 year, but you go from one to the other. We recommend that they take multiple programs. We've also looked at next year we'll have an IT pathway, so network security and software going down to 1 year, but those combined with technology device maintenance become a pathway for students. And so we counsel the students, if you're interested in software, go this way. If you're interested in hardware, go that way. And so we still expect the students to stay here 2 years, maybe 3 in some cases, but they're choosing different programs, getting different certifications. But, and like I mentioned in the beginning, all of this work really is led a lot by the instructional specialists. So as we're moving, this work is growing. They're really spending a lot more time creating the master courses hand in hand with the teachers, as well as really more of the ongoing in-class support. And one new thing we're really pushing next year with that is program-specific professional development. So they will be doing specific professional development for industrial trades versus the health versus the other programs. And so this way they can get more into their curriculum. So that's kind of a snapshot.
I have a question.
Of course.
What are the 5 programs that are piloting the master courses?
So we have collision is working on it. We have early childhood. Electrical has just started. Aesthetics. I'm going to forget the last one. Oh, I wrote it down. I'm going to forget the last one, but I will let you guys know. But like I said, we do have spring break, though, a whole handful. So we will have about 11 by spring break.
I have a question, if I may. You just mentioned program-specific industry development. What are they doing right now?
So right now, we have our instructional specialists provide professional development, but a lot of it is general. So there's a session tomorrow on project-based learning where we have 25 teachers coming, so it's a great session, but it isn't specific to industrial trades. What we'd like to do next year is have project-based learning for the industrial trades, project-based learning for healthcare, and so we're really able to specialize it into those areas.
That makes sense. I'd like to thank all the teachers and staff, everyone involved with it. I think it's impressive as a board member, but as a parent also, I really appreciate the streamlined, everything streamlining, changing 2 years to 1 year, because I have big plans for my son, and knowing that we can streamline and do some, very appreciative. So thank you.
Any more questions?
So, Mr. President, if I could, one of the things that I'm really appreciative of, and you alluded to it, the idea of going from 2 to 1 so that they can have more pathways. But one of the things historically we would see in some of our programs is that the curriculum was the teacher. And if the teacher left, the new teacher that came in didn't have a curriculum. And we would say, well, here's your book, shut the door, and good luck to you. And obviously that doesn't work well, and it's not fair to our students. And so our ability to begin creating curriculum, having kind of best practice lesson plans, allows us to do a better job with onboarding new staff to our organization. So as much as I'm appreciative because of having the ability in many cases to go from 2 to 1, to have the ability to build capacity for our current teachers, this is also a huge step towards that process of having new staff who maybe have never taught before have a leg up compared to where we used to be. So the work that's been done over the last couple of years is just truly amazing. And I think it's important to know that it's all designed towards giving, as you said, our students a better opportunity to learn.
So good.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Any more information? Okay, we'll go on to item B, funding approval for refreshments, women's evaluation.
Mr. President, I believe you got a C.
We're in 7C.
Then I skipped over board travel, excuse me. Well, I'm trying to get out of here. It's all my fault. I saw the Super Bowl last night. I'm still depressed. Okay, Dr. Wilson.
Mr. President, members of the governing board, just, this is a brief reminder. We've wrestled a bit with board travel, and where we left it is where the policy has always been, in which you as a governing board are ultimately responsible for making the determination and decision who travels where, when, and what. I don't like direct legal services. You want to read the policy, or just so they got the kind of the 411?
At the moment, the only restriction is that the policy, that spending is within the annual district budget. And you're free to choose amongst yourselves who gets to go where and when.
I know we've wrestled back and forth, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood where our policy currently rests.
There are two more parts. It has to be a benefit for the district, and when you get back, you're supposed to tell us about it. But other than that, budget-wise, you're kind of wherever you want to be.
So unless there's questions, that was just information.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I was the one, as y'all remember, who made the motion that we set aside our commitment to 20 grand as the limit, and we are just totaling these things up. If we approve Mr. Lane today, and I don't know why we shouldn't, we are $4,400 over the $20,000 that we committed to and then laid aside. And I made that motion because I knew we were going to be here, but I think we ought to remind ourselves that we're still spending the people's money. And I'm a big fan of teachers and administrators and other staff going to conferences they think are the kinds of things that would enrich programs. I'm a little less.
20,000. That's per person.
Let me not say that. I have not, other than the convention you and I were at, Mr. Covington, I have not thought that I was getting the real value that I need to be getting to be sharing here. So I just, it's something we obviously got to wrestle with. And I think $20,000 may be too little, but we should be alert to the fact that we are spending the people's money for purposes of enriching the programs here. So, yeah, thank you for this reminder.
I have a comment.
Go ahead, Mr. Lane.
I think it's incumbent on a school board to do everything they can to learn what's going on in the world around us. And quite a few of these conferences are pretty much the core or the intended audience are school board members. There are some that have both, but I think we're not serving our constituency in a responsible manner if we don't make ourselves available to take some of this nothing short of professional development for school board members. And if we're going to continue to lead the way in Arizona, we need to know what's going on in the bigger picture in the country, and there's really no other avenue to do that. And that's.
Thank you, Mr. Lane. Kevin, what's the current policy on this specifically? You just read it? Yeah. There's not a 20,000, yeah. Yeah, it's not specific, it's just percentage, correct?
Percentage at the moment.
Stays within the budget, okay. I just want to let you know that I've been on this board a long time, and I remember board members could not do anything. And I really appreciate you guys opening it up to us, letting us go to these things. Because when I was in the education, I was going to a lot of these conferences and learning. And now I like to go and go and learn aspects, because education's changed so much. I retired 19 years ago. It's about flip-flop. It's so much different now, so much in everything. So we need to keep up with it.
It's also our duty to make sure we do this responsibly and make decisions responsibly for
Yeah.
taxpayer dollars.
Could I ask, or maybe I'll just be the Debbie Downer,
Well,
how many, someone has to do it, right? How many board members do we really need at any one conference? That's something I would like as our board to discuss. How many do we need to be at any one conference? Because the goal is for us someone to go and return and report, right? So I agree with Mr. Hobson that first, I think we have a fiduciary duty to the public to not overspend our money, but we get to decide what that is. And does that fit in with 1 or 2 people going and returning a report? I think we have the biggest board in the state. I
one
mean,
of the
correct me if
larger
I'm wrong. We have 9 people. So theoretically, each of us should maybe take our turn based on our interests or our background, and we don't need 5 people, or maybe even 3. I don't want to put a limit on it, but I would like us to maybe discuss what's responsible. Really, what is it? How many people really need to go to a conference? I'm so glad it's not how it used to be and that the option is there.
Yeah.
I want options for everyone, but I still feel like we haven't come to a place that maybe we should, how many people do we need to have go to a conference?
Well, I think you have to look at the agenda of the conference. Many of them have concurrent sessions that, you know, there's no possible way 1 or 2 people could even scratch the surface of what the offerings
9 or
are.
20.
That would be another thing if everybody went to the same sessions together. That would be a foolish thing to do, but there's particularly these national conferences, they have a lot of content. And there's only so much one person, and
I appreciate that, Mr. Lane. Definitely something, I know we have different ones. There's a lot of ones that I can't go just due to times of year with kids
Yeah.
and family responsibilities. So
And some of
I
us are
generally don't
free.
ever go to the Tucson one in the summer because I'm usually out of state.
Tennessee.
But I just would like to be really cognizant of how we spend our money and make sure that we are really maximizing our time there over staff or teachers or admin. That's just my reminder to the board.
Mr. President, we are $4,400 over what we said was our limit, and we rescinded the limit. But I don't, and in proposing that, I didn't mean to suggest to us that we ought to say, hey, we should be going to every conference. I take Mr. Lane's point about the importance of kind of being up to speed, but candidly, the people who are best suited to do that are teachers who are currently active in the classroom and administrators and other support personnel who are active in the game. And we would be better served, I suspect, if we sent more of them to report back to us about areas of specialization or skill or areas that we should be focusing on. This is and I have not realized we are the largest board in the school board in the state, I guess, when I think about it.
One of the largest.
Yeah, there's a lot of money being spent for us to go to multiple conferences, and I just think we need to be really alert to this. I think we're dialed in for this fiscal year, so I'm not suggesting any immediate change, but everybody should be looking deep and saying, maybe I shouldn't be going to this one this year, or maybe I choose one rather than ask to go to 3. I just think we need to be really alert to the fact that it hasn't happened yet, but it's quite possible that there will be reporters and others who come knocking on our doors asking us, what exactly did you get out of that conference in Las Vegas? Well, it wasn't during the football game, but what a terrible result. Oh, I'm sorry.
The Chiefs won.
But I think as board members, we need to be alert that this is not, if we ignore this is going to be a problem that we're going to say, why didn't we do something about this? It may be that $20,000 is too low, we ought to choose it. We ought to choose a figure, and board members ought to look deep when I agree. It's a good thing for board members to be going to some of these things, Mr. Covington, but there are limits too to what the public is going to tolerate. So, it's not an action item, but I think Amber's remarks and I think mine and others, I think, tell us we should be doing a little bit more thinking about some of these things that we're doing.
Thank you.
And thank you for this material.
You're welcome.
I do appreciate this.
Ms.
Thank you very
Wilson.
much.
Any more discussion? Okay. We'll go to subject B. 8B, funding approval for refreshment. No, I'm still. Action item, excuse me. A, action item A, I'm trying to skip, I'm always one ahead. I'm jumping ahead.
Mr. President, can we approve items 8A through E?
Okay,
Is that consent?
that's your motion?
Yeah, my motion would be to approve items 8A through E.
I second that motion.
Can I ask that we pull out E, since it's still board travel? Can we vote on that separately, since that's such a hot button issue right now?
Items A through D then.
I'll second that.
Okay. A through D. You second it? We got a first and a second. Any discussion or information needed? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. Acclamation.
I had it on, sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President, I move that we approve items 8E.
Need a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I guess my discussion just goes back to the fact that looking over, sorry, I feel like I hear an echo, I'm sorry. Looking over, I just wonder if we really do need 4 people. And we have discussed that, and 4 people, 4 still seems a little bit much to me. I think 3 is the limit, personally. This is my own opinion. I think 3 people can see the things. I've looked over so many different conferences, and there's so many that do not apply to what we do as board members. However, I'm just concerned that that's, what, 2,800, almost 2,800 for a 4th? Makes me nervous.
Mr. President, I share the kind of concern Ms. McPhee has reflected, and we had that earlier discussion, but I can't see how, at this point, we could deny the request of a board member to go. I think, by the way, the National Policy Seminar is one of the good ones that board members benefit from, because there is some work in the elected representatives in support of us, and it was one that I thought, aside from the forced march that Mr. Covington took me on, although that was good, I thought it was really a productive one for me personally. But I guess I join Ms. McPhee's remarks. And I'm gonna vote in favor of this when we get there. So.
May I ask how many people on this dais have attended this national policy seminar? Is it one of the better ones?
Well,
What is your experience?
Your experience is you learn about legislation for one thing, and you go talk to legislators or someone, you talk to someone there. Sometimes you get to see them in the office, but most time you don't. Dr. Wilson went last year, and I think with Ms. Boggs, you got to see people really personally,
Yes.
Which was awesome. And you get to talk to them directly, and this is the way we need to get.
You do, and you
EVIT out
build a
there.
relationship with them.
Oh, yeah.
By
Yeah.
being in their office down there in DC. It's important to have a relationship with your legislators.
I had fun last year going to these because I didn't have the contacts you have, but you're talking to them, and we're in a table, and there's probably 12 people around there talking to him. And I gave that brochure, once again, the students made. And the guy is just sitting there looking at the brochure and going, "It's made by students, this is done at your school, this is all the stuff you have." So if you give them something interesting that they can hold on to, it helps.
But Mr. Covington,
sir.
it's a $10,000 tag
Yeah, I got it.
for that thing. So there's a value.
How many legislators
benefit.
do we have
How many do we have?
in Washington DC?
What do we got? Do we got?
For just Arizona.
We got 2 senators and 8 congressmen?
So there's 10?
Yeah,
10?
yeah. And I've been writing nasty notes to my senator's cinema, so I couldn't go last year because I was afraid she would recognize me. I used to give her money, but I just send her nasty notes now. Sorry. It's a Democrat fight, just, you gotta forgive me, please. But I didn't go to, I didn't go to
We
cinema.
won't send you, okay?
I didn't go to cinema reception last year, I just,
Just because you're independent now. That's enough legislative talk. Okay. All right.
probably
Guess we
not,
need to call for the question.
but there are moments, I married a Republican.
All right, call for the question. Ellison. Shane.
Aye.
Hobson.
Aye.
Boggs.
Aye.
Lane.
Aye.
Watkins.
Aye.
McAfee is a no. Covington.
Abstain.
Okay, motion carries.
I don't want to say no, I want to say yes. Yeah, it's important for me to know. Okay,
Executive session.
we're going, need a motion to get, go into an executive session, I believe. Wait. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, we're on 9.
We're on 9.
I
Good.
move that we convene into executive session.
I'll second.
We have a acclamation vote.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? An executive session.
Not that we normally do this, but would you prefer you all stay in here and we ask everybody to step out? I know that's a bit awkward, but this is a bit of a different, you know?
I give them all
Well, you
back to
signed
Tammy
it.
at the end of each session. It's-
You already signed it.
They gotta maintain it complete, so I just give it to them.
Are we back? Oh, we're back. Yes,
If you
we're
take
back.
notes.
Let's go.
Okay. Call the session back.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I move that we instruct the board's attorney to proceed as, we approve the board's attorney to proceed as instructed in executive session.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Vote acclamation?
Yes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's done. All right. That's possible action. We're in 11. Superintendent summary, my favorite part.
Riveting. Mr. President, members of the governing board, I just have 3 items I'd like to share with you. The first is an item that I'm well, all items I'm extremely excited about, but this one really, really excited about. It's been an effort of ongoingness that we've been navigating for the past year and a half, but it looks like we're finally kind of getting a light at the end of the tunnel. Last month or earlier this month, last month, I don't know when it was, we were down at the Board of Nursing and the Education Committee, and the Education Committee approved pushing us, and I'm not going to say it the right way. Dr. Dillon, what is it? We got provisional approval from the Education Committee, which is essentially as a recommendation to the Board of Nursing to approve our program for our RN program. If you remember, this was a conversation we started probably 18 months ago around the idea of being able to lean into workforce development, especially in a space that is desperately needed in the state, which healthcare is. So assuming that the recommendation is consistent, we hope to be back to you in March or April talking about the launching of another program under the umbrella of our associates. And I think that's a tribute to the work that you all are allowing us to do, so thank you for that. Enrollment, I'm not going to get specific with numbers, but we're grateful that our partnering districts are continuing to help shepherd more students here. If you remember last year, we grew about 1,000 students. Our hope is that we still keep on track with growing. If that's the case, then we probably are going to be coming to you sooner rather than later with need for more parking at the very least, because although we're going to need more space at some point in time for classrooms, we have a real problem, especially on the main campus, for parking. It's a good problem to have, but it's a problem nonetheless. And so hopefully in the next couple of meetings, we'll be able to come back to you and share what our projected enrollment is and share what that means in relationship to needing to have more space, both classrooms and, like I said, parking. Our goal is to be able to be in front of you sometime in March with contracts for the 24-25 school year. Obviously, there's some work that has to get done on the back end. Our last meeting together, you all approved the ability for us to offer that A or B section choice for employees, and so there's some policy that we have to write and present to you. But also, there's some analysis that we have to do on compensation every single year. One of the things we do is want to make sure that we're being competitive in all of our positions, and so we're in the process of doing that with the hopes of being able to come back to you in this month with recommendations for you to approve or deny in March, so that we can then hopefully issue contracts in March and have enough time for folks to be able to sign them and return them, or if not, we know before the year's out so we can continue to recruit. That's all I got.
Mr. President, of course, Dr. Wilson neglected to point out that last Friday, we opened we met, had a celebration, I guess, the signing of the beam of the residence hall.
Yes.
And you wouldn't be able to say this yourself, but your remarks in particular were particularly inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm still amazed that you do that all without notes. So I'm trying to figure out how you do that.
Yeah, you almost sounded intelligent.
I almost sounded
He had a
intelligent.
wonderful alliteration. He talked about, was it promise, purpose, and paycheck?
Yes.
Was that?
Yes.
It was a great alliteration that just like kind of caught. But it was really inspiring, and we should all pat ourselves on the backs because we
100%.
supported that. And some of you have been doing this a
Especially
very
this
long
one,
time,
right?
Mrs. Boggs.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
ought to take particular pleasure in the not opening yet, but the really impressive structure that's there. And now we need to build like 10 more like them around.
The country.
And there's a huge
Yeah.
need for this
country.
particular.
Well, and the thing I think that's really exciting about it too is that in our particular situation, it's foster youth that we're leaning into. But there's potentially a recipe for any sort of subgroup within a community that may need some additional support. And I'll tell you, one of from my perspective, there's so many different pieces that make it work, but CTE programming is kind of that magic elixir, in my opinion. And the idea of being able to give these individuals, whatever it is, that opportunity, I think, just has the potential to truly change lives, to truly change lives.
Absolutely.
I'd like to thank the people that did all the work behind the doors, like Shelley and other people, and you, et cetera, and Dr. Doolin for all the work she's done with the nursing. You know, you worked hard at it. Okay, we
I
appreciate
stopped
it.
into Paul Revere also afterwards,
Yes.
after that.
Yep.
Yeah, the Paul review.
And talked to Jared
Jared.
Taylor and got to look through the books and the curriculum, and it's really awesome.
It is.
Keep
There's-
setting the benchmark for other schools, other CTEs.
Oh, believe me, we will. We expect ourselves to.
It was really impressive.
Okay.
Really impressive. You get a chance to
Does that take care of you, Dr. Wilson?
That is, yes, thank you, I'm done.
Okay, I just want to make sure, you know, I'm moving on. Calendar for next time. We have a meeting coming February 26th.
Correct.
And any recommendations for any agenda items? None there, Assistant Superintendent? Any items for next meeting that you want to add?
Yes,
A Student of the Month again?
yes, we're going to recognize some students, we're going to recognize some faculty and staff as well.
Okay,
Okay,
hearing none, we'll go on to item B. Do I have a motion?
I move that we adjourn.
All right,
I'll second.
and acclamation?
Yes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?